Well, here we are at the National Trust car park, just behind the Bank's Arms at Studland. We'll have to do a relatively short walk up to the famous Old Harry Rocks and onto Ballard Down. And there's two routes we can go. We can either turn sort of right quite early and drop back down into Studland from behind, or we can go down to the Swanage Road and come back on the edge of Godlinson Heath. So we'll catch up in a minute. Just walking down past the rather lovely Bank's Arms beer garden, down to the bottom of the little road here before we turn off left by the toilets up towards it's really the coast path, which leads us up to Old Harry Rocks after maybe about a mile and a quarter, something like that. It's a beautiful day, as you can see, so we should see some lovely views. Just have a lovely walk. It's the 21st of May, a Saturday, so there's a lot of people out, but there's plenty of room for everyone. So here's the turning off to the left. Oh, it's a mild Old Harry. Here we go. So as you can see, a really busy day. Most people, particularly tourists, just walk up this path and back. As you saw, it's about a 2-mile walk. We're obviously going to do a circular walk as always, which involves a bit of a steep climb shortly. But it's a beautiful way to get a view of this iconic part of the coastline. And around here we have Studland Bay, which is a famous anchoring point for yachts. It's in a sheltered bay, beautiful beaches, flat calm water, so perfect for them. But it's a lovely day for, I guess, a mile walk up to Old Harry and a mile walk back, followed by a pint at the Bank's Arms. So, what's not to like about that? And because the visibility is so great today, we should be able to see the Isle of Wight very clearly across the water, which of course Old Harry used to be the joining point where the Isle of Wight and the Isle of Purbeck many millions of years ago were one solid piece of land. So imagine the Needles, imagine Old Harry. That was all joined together millions of years ago. And to the left here, you've got the famous Bournemouth beaches. You can see Bournemouth Pier over there, sandbanks to the left. Gorgeous area. I say a massive popular tourist place. So I think a lot more people than we do normally, but then again, it is a bit later in the year and it is a beautiful day. And there's a bank holiday due very shortly, in a couple of weeks' time. So I imagine there's to be some early tourists down here as well. So I'll pick up again probably when we're getting towards the end of this bit of the path towards Old Harry. So the path closes in a bit on this bit after the wide open bit just there. And then when it opens out again in a few yards' time, you'll see the land and promontory which lead up to Old Harry Rocks. So there you are, it's opened up now. Look at all the people. And that's the heading we're picking up there in a minute, up towards Ballard Down. We're going to see some views into Swanage. But here, people standing on it. And the end is the very, very famous Old Harry Rocks. And over there, with fantastic visibility today, is the Isle of Wight in all its glory. So there you have Isle of Wight in the distance there, just behind the sailboat to the left. And panning around, there you are, Approx right in front of us. And panning around, you've got Lymington, Hinglesbury Head, going around to Boscombe, Bournemouth, going around all the sandbanks and Shore Road beaches, all the way around until the harbour entrance. And the ferry just over there, and this is all the Studland Peninsula over here. And then you start to see all the anchored yachts in this idyllic anchorage. And we're going to start walking in a minute in that direction, there. So this is all now uphill, heading towards Ballard Down, and we go along here a little bit more to the left, then we climb up that slope that you can see, and effectively we're heading off to the right. And there's two routes back. One is when you get to the top, you walk maybe a mile on the top, and you fall back into Studland, and through the outskirts of Studland. There's a number of houses that way. In fact, you can just see the path over there that takes you back into Studland on the short walk. It's over there, in that direction. And the alternative being you carry on straight along the ridge line, and when it starts to dip down, and what it does, it dips down towards the Swanage Road from Studland, which you can cross and carry on along Ballard Down, and that takes you ultimately to Corfe Castle. So we're going to do one of those two routes today. We'll see how we feel when we get to the top. For the time being, it's keep climbing. Well, not surprisingly, as we get higher, we've got some wind now, so if you're hearing some wind noise, apologise. But we're coming to the start, which you can see, and as you can probably again see from the people walking up on the right hand side, that's the route we're going, which takes us onto the top of the ridgeline. We're not there yet, by some way, but as you can see, the crowds have definitely thinned out. Lovely day for May. What a lovely day. Gorgeous. Seems to be my normal route seems to be walking the winter in fog or mist or rain or a combination, and this is a real bonus when it's like this. And just think, if it's this busy in May, when it's not school holidays and not a bank holiday, you can imagine how busy it is in the real season. Here we are, walking up a fairly nondescript hill into the blue yonder, and over here you've got some intrepid cyclists, because this is favourite cycling area. I used to do that many years ago on a 3-speed bike, not on these merchant custom made 21-speed mountain bikes, albeit I have now succumbed. Now, as we're walking up here, I thought you'd like to see the view we now get of Poole Bay and Poole Harbour and Brownty Island. As we get higher and higher, the view gets better and better. Isn't that beautiful? So on the map, this is Tumuli, bit of gorse. There's the triangulation point. There we go. So, we're now on to Ballard Down, and this is just an absolutely gorgeous place to be on a day like today, particularly because on your left you've got a panoramic view of Swanage, which is there, and then if we pan around to the right, you've got Poole Harbour and Poole Bay. Glorious. glorious vision. And for those that don't know this area very well, I'm looking straight over there. You can just see the mouth, just looking out the mouth of the harbour. Then to the left, the big island is Branch Island, where famous for Ballard Down and the Scouts, and they camp. You can imagine two-thirds of the way along the shore from the right. That's roughly where their campsite is. Opposite there, you've got Thursday Island, where there's a little oil rig. And then the mainland, you've got the Goathorn Peninsula. Moving to the left, you've got the Arm Peninsula, which is an RSPB reserve. And then somewhere, you can't really see them very well, you've got Round Island and Long Island. And inside the harbour, going through the end, you can just see Brownsea Castle. And then through the narrows there, you go around to the left, to the right, and there you end up at Poole Quay. And there you go. That's the entrance to the harbour, where you've got the Haven Hotel and the chain ferry. And down there, of course, you've got Studland and the outskirts. And those houses there, sort of moving up the hill, and you sort of walk past if you're coming down the shorter route. This is glorious. It's glorious, and quite a few people walking. It's beautiful. This is the route straight up onto the down. Where those people are walking over there, they've got the right path. I think they have. That's the path that takes you back down to the back into the back end of Studland, which is a lovely little walk actually. I think today we'll carry on to the end and drop down onto the Swanage Road. We'll see. So what the sign says is where we've come back to Studland is 2.5 miles, and Ulwell, which is pretty much where the path meets the road, 1.5, and that's the route we're going, which is straight on up there. And then we drop down, upwards and onwards. So this is the obelisk, well-known attraction in this area, demolished in 41, so that the Luftwaffe couldn't use it as a identification place to know where they were. Then it was rebuilt after war by the Royal Engineers Reserve volunteers, so that's why it's back there now. It's been back in its place since 41, so here we are. So now dropping back down towards the road. I'll pick up in a minute. So yes, we're dropping back down here towards the road now. Now across there, we've got Ballard Down, and that's the where the path, when you cross the road, it continues over there. And that's the route straight towards Corfe Castle, which today we're not going to do. We're going to drop down here, hit the road, and try and find a footpath that takes us towards Studland Heath. That's the plan. Which should be fairly. I think I can see it down there. The path actually, you can just see it just down there, a little stile. I think that's it. That would make sense in the right place. And you can just see the edge of the Isle of Purbeck golf course there as well. So I just met up with a couple there, walked with them for the last mile or so. They come from Wiltshire in their own camper van, self-built, parked at Langdon Travers. They're not quite full-time van lifers, but I think I wish they could be. Eschew hotels and prefer their own independence in their van. Good luck to them as well. Doing my day like today, because I'm walking down this path towards the road here with this beautiful vista in the foreground. Absolutely beautiful. Now, one of the reasons doing this walk today, which is a rather faintly bizarre one, is that when I was last out walking around St Albans, my foot had a bit of a malfunction in terms of the sole fell off the boot. So after some self repairs, featuring a huge amount of Gorilla Glue and not a lot of talent, I'm hoping they're going to stay stuck together now. Such is the desire to keep comfy shoes. These ones are at least 30 years old, not more than splash proof, but they are comfy, what can I say. So this is the road from Studland to Swanage, and there's a bus stop. So we're going to walk across here, and if my map reading is anything like half decent, there's a footpath down here on the right. will take us towards Studland Heath. And of course, if you want to carry on to Corfe Castle, you carry on down this road, and well, you could have forked off left earlier on, to be fair, at the obelisk, but you carry on down this road, and then you come to a lay-by, and the path up the next hill is from the opposite the lay-by. Well, we found the right path, very well camouflaged in the hedgerow. Just met a school party, I think hiking and camping. Got to say, I didn't look very happy. And this path basically joins up the Swanage Road from Studland with the Corfe Road from Studland. So when we get there, we basically cross the Corfe Road, and that takes us onto the heathland, and probably the edge of the golf course as well. It shouldn't be too far away. We're basically just dissecting the triangle between the two roads. That's why I didn't want to miss that path, because the further you go towards Swanage, the further you get away. And speaking of the devil, it is the edge of Purbeck golf course. And this is there's two courses at Purbeck. This is the second one, and I think this is a lot flatter and easier for the members. I've never played it, but it looks nice. It looks very quiet at the moment, and to be honest with you, style over there. There we are, here's the style that we were aiming for. So should be safe here from any hook, from any golf ball, by any bad hook. And that's where we come from. Isn't that lovely? And a bit further to the left is a path down from the obelisk over there. And now we're on the main Corfe Road. So let's get over this style and pick it up in a minute. So we've crossed the Corfe Road and heading down a bridle path now towards the heath, golf course on our left, and it's now basically follow our noses back to Studland. We're going to see Studland in a minute anyway. So but basically it's down here, and we want to sort of head sort of leftish, if that isn't too non-technical. But I'm pretty sure there'll be some pretty clearly signed path along here. If you've seen my video on the Agglestone Rock, we're actually going to touch on part of that path, or at least the start of that path, and we'll probably be able to see the Agglestone in a minute. Oh, and if you heard that shout, that's probably a golf shout, I suspect. And you can see the beaches down there. Looks lovely. Oh yeah, here's some golfers. So we've just come off the golf course now, and we're now on Studland Heath, moving into Studland Heath. Agglestone will be down there somewhere. I don't really want to go too far to the left here, but I'm pretty sure there'll be a path we can find that will take us back to Studland. Lovely day for a game of golf up here, because it can get extremely windy, as you'd imagine, up this high and this exposed. And for those golfers out there, the greens look fantastic. They've had a bad reputation, this place has, but I must admit the course is looking lovely. It really is. I haven't been up close and personal, but it looks beautifully presented. It really does. Right, so where are we? See if we can get our bearings a little bit. That's the heath. So the Agglestone must be just over there somewhere, straight in front. want to keep right, and I think that's where the path is taking us, which is good. Onwards. So here we have a nice convenient crossroads. Decide what direction I'm going to take. But basically it's right. Definitely not straight on. Straight on will take you almost definitely towards Knoll House car park, which I don't want. So a sign just there said Studland Village 1 mile. So absolutely back on track. I'm putting a bit of a turn on speed there. I hadn't quite realised what the time was. But 1 mile, 3 miles an hour, 20 minutes, 4 miles an hour. Quarter of an hour, so I'm going to go for the quarter of an hour route. So I'll pick you up as we get towards Studland. Okay, back on the outskirts of Studland Village now. I've joined up with the sort of road or path that is was the start of the walk around Studland Heath. Lovely walk today. Probably about 5 miles. Easy walking. No problems at all. As we see, quite a lot to see. A beautiful coastline, staggering views. Good to see a few children up on the top there, how I started many moons ago. And thoroughly recommend this as a lovely family walk. It gets you away from the crowds, doing a circular walk rather than back and forwards to Old Harry, and you see an awful lot more. Village Hall on our right. We can go straight across and follow the road down to the Banks Arms. Very busy road most times of the year, manic in the summer, so take care. So here we are, this is the map of the walk. We started just here at the car park at Studland, onto the main Old Harry path, round up the headland, then across Ballard Down. Walked right along here to where you had the choice of going back down this path here and back down to Studland this way. We carried on along here. Remember the obelisk we got to, the rebuilt obelisk? Dropped down here to the road. On your left, eventually found the path that joined up to the other road, the main Corfe road. Crossed that road, went through the golf course, and then basically hit the heath all along here. Joined up at the back of Studland, back to the crossroads at the post office. Cross and back round, drop down into Studland. So I reckon about 5.5 miles. Enjoy.